Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Way That I See It. My name is Lucy Superfox, and this is my podcast. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about setting money goals. So, what happens is we're at the end. Excuse me, drinking my tea. It's freezing. But we are at the end of 2022. So, at the time of recording this, it is December the 4th. December the 4th. And so, we are really kind of approaching the end of the year. And for me, I know that what I've done in previous years is hang on in there till the end of the year and then make some flippant goals. Or also done the opposite of this. I have decided that mid-November I've had enough and that I'm going to set a goal for next year and hope for the best and ride the rest of this year out. And if I'm being totally honest, in the years where the success has happened, the year was where the growth has happened, the years where I've really strived for more, I've really achieved something, especially when it comes to money, are the years where I have both hung on in there to the very last minute, whilst also having in my mind's eye what my goals are for 2023, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So what I really urge people to do at this time of year is to really look at where you're currently at. So to start to audit 2022, like doing this on New Year's Eve, or on New Year's Day is actually just quite depressing if you're not where you want to be. Whereas actually what I find is if you get to, it's the 4th of December, let's say you do this week, you sit down, you look at your accounts, you look at how much money you've turned over, you look at how much money you've spent. Now, look, I've moved my year ends to April so that everything lines up. But, yours might work in calendar year if you have a corporate job, or maybe you're, self-employed and you pay yourself in line with the, the tax year threshold. So, look at your numbers. And I think this is the one thing a lot of us want to keep our head in the sand. A lot of us don't want to face them. A lot of us think, well, I'm doing fine, so I'll just kind of keep my head in the sand. And actually what it turns out is you've been earning the same money for the last 3 years, even though you've been saying every year you want to earn more money. So where you've got to find yourself is that place of like brutal honesty, where you face up to the truth about where you really are. You face up to the honesty around the numbers. And this is something I didn't want to used to do. Like, I'm being totally honest. Like, sometimes I know there's money on my Amex and I'm like, oh, just ignore it. It's not due till next month, right? And what's happening in that moment is I'm going to have a destructive behavior happen, because when we run from anything, when we avoid anything, right, we are about to open up a destructive behavior pattern. We're about to open up a pattern or a belief system or a set of actions that is destructive and negative and in the opposite direction of our goals, because it's trying to protect us from feeling something. So whenever we're procrastinating or putting off something like looking at numbers, looking at money, look at credit card statements, look at what we're spending, look at doing our budget, there's usually a reason. And the reason is normally because we don't want to face up to the fact of where either we are where we are or why we are where we are. So, for example, maybe you shop a lot to deal with the fact that you're not really happy in your relationship. Maybe you spend a lot of time buying things online because actually you're bored and you're not stimulated in your job, and you buy things at work. Like, whatever the story might be, a lot of us don't want to face up to where we currently are with money, because either there's a sense of shame, a sense of feeling like we should be further along by now. This is not where I was supposed to be by now. And I've done a whole series on shame, and shame will be coming back around, don't you worry, in 2023. So January 2023, for any of you that are avid listeners, is going to be all about healing, and all about how I've been on a journey with my healing from some of my trauma, healing from some of my stories, healing from some of the narratives, healing from a lot of things that I've been through, from my divorce to my relationship breakdowns before that, to my financial journey, to my relationship with my body. So I'm going to talk a lot about healing in January. But reason why I bring that up is that a lot of us are so afraid to face up to the reasons why we do the things that we do with money, that we don't actually change anything. And awareness is the first step. Like in any addiction or any problem or anything that's going on, being aware of it is the first step. That awareness then brings the ability to assess. That assessment then gives you the real honest truth about where you are, right? That's an audit. Then you've got your audit. You're then able to make a decision about what you need to do next. Now, often what people do in this moment is they get this far and then they get paralyzed by thinking about the how. They're like, I've got this far, but I have literally got no idea what to do next. And this is what's really important to know is all you need to do next is set a powerful intention. Now, an intention versus a powerful intention. An intention is, I would like this, this would be nice. A powerful intention is, I would like this, this would be nice, this is absolutely going to happen for me, I am worthy of it, and I'm going to do the work to believe I can have it, right? So as I always go through the 5 steps of my manifestation process, whatever you want to call it, decide what you want, do the work to believe you can have it, take inspired action, create space, trust the process. If you can't trust the process, you don't really believe you can have it, you're not making space, or you're not taking inspired action. End of story. So it's normally one of those things. So to get from where you want to trusting the process and ultimately the end result, somewhere in that mix, you've got to do the work to believe you can have it. You've got to take inspired action, and you've got to make space for the new thing to come. So when it comes to money, those three things feel so fucking overwhelming that we're like, well, of course there's space for more money, Luce, and of course I believe I can have it. Like, I wouldn't want it if I didn't believe I could have it. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do. What the fuck's inspired action? And what happens is we go on this absolute rampage of questioning ourselves, of doubting ourselves, of thinking things out loud. And this is why we don't look at money, because then what happens is we think, well, all I'm going to then be is in a situation where I know more, I understand more, and I feel more, but actually I don't really know anymore. So what's the point? And I think a lot of us do this with our body as well. We don't step on the scales because we don't know what we want it to say. And if it says something we don't want it to say, we don't know if we're prepared to do the work to change it. And when we don't know if we're prepared to do the work, we'd much rather live with our heads in the sand or in denial, or whatever word you want to use, right? Than we would actually be aware of where we currently are. But here's the thing, if you would actually like to achieve some incredible goals in 2023, if you actually want to succeed, to thrive, to grow, to challenge yourself, to change your life, to do something different, to take it to the next level in whatever area of life, you have first got to get really fucking real with where you are. And I strongly advise that you do not leave that till the 1st of January, that you do not start your year in this place, that you start now, that you go into the festive season with powerful intentions, that you go out there with a clear energy, that when that new year rings in, you are already on your way to that next level of your life, whether it's a money goal, a business goal, a body goal, relationship goal, whatever it is, right? So get really aware. You've got to get aware, then you've got to assess, and you've got to do that audit. And whether that's to do with your body, your relationships, your money, it doesn't really matter. But what's really important is that if you are going to change anything, you must first be aware of where you are. And I know I have been that person where when, let's say, business hasn't been that good for whatever reason over the years, I've had my head in the sand. Or maybe it's seasonal, maybe you have a seasonal business and you don't want to face up to where the season you're currently in, because the next season is fruitful. But the thing is, by not being real about how low the low season is, you're not actually ever real about how high the high season needs to be. If you work a 30-hour week as a personal trainer in a high season and a 10-hour week in a low season, you're averaging a 20-hour year, not a 30-hour, right? 20-hour week, not a 30-hour week. So then you've got to ask yourself, actually, if I need the money on a 30-hour week, a 20-hour week isn't enough. And what happens so much of the time is we focus on when things are really, really good, or we focus on things really, really bad, but neither of those things are the honest picture of the overall. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So what I really want you to do is really get aware and get really honest of where you truly are, like where you deeply and truly are. And that takes grit, and it takes courage, and it takes faith, and it's hard. Like, don't think I'm using these words in any trivial fashion. Like, it is hard to sit down and look at where you are in real life, in real terms, financially, emotionally, spiritually, body-wise, and actually face up to how you got there. Like, with my body, like, I've been on a massive journey, and I'll talk about that as part of my healing, but, I don't want to step on the scales. I don't. I do it occasionally because if I felt myself going a bit off piece, I'm like, you need to get aware, Luce, before you're going to change anything. It's like that time, when someone wants to make a transformation and see themselves in a picture at a wedding and they go, oh my God, I hate how I look. Like, why is it that it has to all fall apart before we get to that? You can do this on a regular basis. And I strongly suggest that right now, if you're ready to set goals for 2023, if you have hope for 2023, and even if you don't, especially if you don't, this is what you need to be doing. You need to be getting really aware of where you currently are across all the areas of your life, and especially when it comes to money, because awareness is absolutely the first step. Then audit the behaviors, audit the patterns, audit why you are where you are, and then you're in the position to start setting goals, setting intentions, and setting into process that manifestation journey. And if you need help, my mini money mindset course is there. And if it's not about money, you can check out the Build Your Belief bundle or the Ultimate Mindset Makeover. They are always available at lucysuperfox.com/courses. The one course that isn't always available is Next Level Life, and that is only opened at the moment. I've only opened it twice a year, but here it is. It is going to be open in January. So that's what I'm saying right now. I'll share more on the future podcasts, but I do think that Next Level Life is going to be open in January. And this is a coached course with me. So this is bi-weekly course, a 12-week course, actually going to be 13 modules. I'm going to add a 13th module this year. So bonus module. I'm re-recording a couple of the modules with like some fresh extra content. There's like 7 bonuses now. But yeah, it's going to be 13 modules, but done over 12 weeks, because the first week you're going to do that as like your pre-work, the first module. And then there are bi-weekly calls for 6 weeks, one-to-one with me. So yeah, I'm excited to share that with people. Next Level Life is where it started. It started as a course called the 6-week shift. So it was 6 weeks. Then it turned to an 8-week course called Making the Shift. Then it turned into a 12-week course called Next Level Life, and I'm keeping Next Level Life. I don't care how many people use it in a cliche fashion, I'm keeping it. And it's going to be 13 modules with 6 bi-weekly calls. So yeah, I'm buzzing to share that within January. But that is it for this episode. But if you are like thinking about 2023 or whatever you are in the year when you're listening to this, get really honest with yourself, get really truthful about where you truly are in order to be able to truly move forward. So as always, that was the way that I see it. Always for you, I love to see your comments, your tags, your shares on social media at Lucy Superfox, at Next Level Lucy. I'd love for you to like, subscribe, leave a rating on the show. It always helps other people access this information. I'm so grateful for all of the kind messages, testimonials, and comments I've received so far. So have the most beautiful rest of week. Have an incredible one, and I'll speak to you all soon.